Yes. I believe in you. You believe in me, and I believe that we can make our dreams a reality. Welcome to each and every one of you to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People here in the Radio 1 Urban Media 1 studios. In particular, we happen to be in the Kathy Hughes studio of WOLB, and we would like to welcome each and every one of you here, and thank you all for being there. Oh man, I can't go anywhere these days without people coming up and saying they listen to the show. And I want you to know, not only do we appreciate it, but we hope that we are parting unto you words of not only encouragement, but words of solutions, words that you might take unto yourselves. I was been noticing that a lot of our advocates and activists, some of them have a tendency to talk down to people. And I never want to do that here. We never want to do that here. Of course, I get upset, and y'all understand my passion and everything, but I still love you. I'm not mad at you. I might see you and keep on stepping, like my mama done taught me, you be nice to people, but those that they ain't nice to you and have no good intent, you feed them with a long handle spoon. Oh, yeah, how you doing, baby? All right, God bless you. Go with God and get away from them. Even the Bible tells us to shake the dust from our feet when people won't receive. And I don't come to you with misinformation. Well, I'm an avid reader, and so are my anchors. Please say hello to Mr. James C. Moran. How are you today, Jimmy?
Good morning. I'm doing well, and I have not heard the term long handle spoon since my mother was living.
Exactly. That was a way, it was a good word.
It was a good word.
It was a good word.
Treat them with a long handle spoon.
Yeah, treat them with a long handle spoon and keep on trucking. And that's what we do here.
Pay attention to this guy. He's got history.
Well, oh man, at 70 years old, I hope so. It's sad to be old and don't know duty. You know what I mean? You got to learn something, and I'm not in any way insinuating that I know it all. I learn something new every day. I purposely read and I observe and think through critically. You have to think critically. You do. Whether it's personal or whatever it is it of benefit to you? Is it a benefit to us all? And that is our concern. And also, another young man that is just brilliant, and we're so happy to have him as one of our co-anchors. Please welcome Mr. Richard Terry. How are you, Richard?
Well, I'm doing reasonable today.
Well, reasonable today, Richard. We're praying for you. He just had surgery last week, but he lost his dearest best friend. He lost his dog, and we know that our pets become members of the family. And so we're praying for you, not only for your healing, but I'm trying to talk him into getting a puppy so that he can keep on trucking and stuff. You'll never replace your good buddy there. But as I told you this morning, I'm trying to get a fence built around my backyard so I can go ahead and get me a couple of dogs, because the people who have dogs actually live longer. Did y'all know that?
Yeah, there's been a study that just came out that said that very same fact. And I used to tell certain people who annoyed me at any given time, I like my dog better than I like most people.
Well, I know you are telling the truth, my friend. I got lots of friends like that. People can't stand, and they'll have a dog. Those people speak to the dog and not speak to the human being. So such is life. Well, here we are on a Monday. I think this is the last Monday of August, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And you forgot chopped liver over here.
Oh my God!
Just sitting there marinating in the sun.
No, I love chopped liver, and I got to make a hot chopped liver myself. Please welcome Mr. Jason Rodriguez. Hi, our co-producer and also our co-anchor. How are you today, Jason?
Good morning, family. Just want to remind everyone we are now streaming live on Facebook, Periscope, as well as YouTube, and you'll get the opportunity to check out everyone in the studio as well as Patrick Henderson in all of his glory this morning.
Well, God is good. I don't care what nobody say. He is just good. I have a great announcement to make. As many of you know, I have had a bout for since February with prostate cancer. It was a vicious prostate cancer because they have what they call, I believe it's a Gleason scale, I believe it's called, of 1 to 10. My prostate cancer was a 9. And it was only on one side of my prostate, but it had not spread. And consequently, my urologist told me, well, first of all, Mr. Henderson, we're going to have to cut your prostate out. Then we're going to treat you with this chemotherapy that is going to burn all of your organs up and stuff, and we still won't be sure that we've gotten the cancer. And then we're going to have to put a colostomy bag on the side of you until all of that heals up. I said to him, sir, no, you're not. This is barbaric that you're still doing this kind of treatment in this day and time. And I asked him, I said, is there any other method to do this? He said, no, there's no other system. This is all there is. I said, good, great, no problem. I'll be in touch with you. And I went home, cried all the way home, just the thought of having to live like that. And I didn't want to live like that. I just said, well, I'll just die. I'll just not get treated at all and just let the cancer take its course. Well, I went home, and there I was laying there in the night, and I saw an advertisement come on television from the University of Maryland Proton Therapy Center. And they said that their number one of their best treatments was their treatment for prostate cancer. I called them and couldn't get an appointment. It took me 2 weeks to get an appointment. And when I finally got an appointment and I went there and I realized what they were doing, I said, oh my God, not only is this civilized, but this makes sense. What they do is this proton therapy, and what they use are lasers. And those lasers pinpoint the tumors, and they laden those lasers with radiation. So instead of it shooting all over your body trying to get to the tumors, they can, with pinpoint accuracy, pinpoint the tumors and feed them small amounts of radiation, which kills them and doesn't do any damage to the other parts of the body. The only part that might be touched for us is our bladder, but they gave me a shot called Lupron, which protected my bladder. Okay, the only side effect of that was I started having hot flashes, still having a little bit of those, but that is the only discomfort I have had doing this treatment. And as of this past Friday, I was pronounced healed. No more cancer in my body. No more cancer, you all. Did y'all hear what I said? In 8 weeks, and I have felt no pains at all. Why am I telling you all this? Is first of all because I believe that God is a healer, and I believe that love is the miracle. But I believe that God also anoints and teaches those doctors this theory, this system, that only comes from a sharpened mind, and who God makes everything, and he sharpens our mind, and he gives us things, and he says to study to show thyself approved. So I'm giving the doctors credit, I'm giving God credit, but most of all, I'm giving all of you all credit for praying for me, for sending me notes, for keeping me encouraged, for lifting me up before God, to lifting me up with your good wishes that you sent my way, so I can sit here today and say I am healed, and God gets the glory. So do you get it, and the wonderful doctors at the Maryland Proton Center. Now, black men, yeah, I know we don't like anybody going near our rectum. We don't like anybody going into that area of our bodies. I heard a gentleman say the other day on the radio that he would felt violated if someone had to insert their finger into his rectum. And of course, he could always get a female doctor if he feel better. But first of all, they don't have to start there. What they do is a blood test, and that blood test lets them know if your prostate has an elevation to it. Then they can start monitoring the elevation, and if they see something, the higher it gets, that means that there is something there that you need to take advantage of. And I don't mean at a 5 and at a 10 scale. I mean at a scale of 1. You need to go in and start finding out what they can do. And with this proton therapy, they can zap it right out of you, and you won't even have to do it. Now, they don't have to invade your body, but they are going to have to, because you will actually have to feel the prostate to see that it is enlarged. So it's just a little bit discomfort, but I guarantee you, if the tutu ain't right, the rear ain't right, the front ain't going to be right, because impotence is not far behind if they have to start treating you for it. You need to take care of it. If you don't want erectile dysfunction, if you don't want cancer running through your body, if you don't want your life to end prematurely, that means too soon, then you need to get a PSA. Write that down. All you ladies out there, mommies, grandmommies, everybody, y'all write that down. Tell them they need to get a PSA test. That's all they need to do to get it done. And then if I would suggest that they go to the University of Maryland, Maryland, because I tell you, they are the only ones in this city, I believe, that have that proton system. And you don't want them cutting on you. You don't want them cutting on you because it takes your body too long to heal. Now, they tell us to get checked up at the age of 50, but from talking to the people at the Proton Center, they have had 30 and 40-year-old black men to walk in there with full-blown prostate cancer. So we can't wait. Start getting tested at 30. All it is a PSA, getting your blood checked. That's where it starts. So y'all, women, y'all will go to the doctor. You all will go get checked up. We know there are many reasons why black men don't do it, and I guess we should start with the Tuskegee experiment, where they let those men die with syphilis just to see the reactions of the ravages on their bodies. So we don't trust doctors. There's a proven fact that when we're in pain, they give us less pain medication. It is a fact that when we go into the hospital with a stroke or a heart attack, we don't survive, whereas white people survive at a much larger scale. We know they don't value us, but I'm telling you, I've been up on them, and up in the house, up at the University of Maryland, making them aware of the disparities when it comes to black people and why we don't come to the doctor. They are appalled that this exists, but I also made them aware that we're 51% of the city, and we need them to step up and take care of the populace here in the city. We know that they have been in trouble with that, with the Pew thing, with the books and everything, and that's certainly not a good look for them, but this is an opportunity for them to step up and say, we are here for Baltimore. And as many of you know, in 2000, I was assaulted and almost lost my life, lost my hand, and was in a coma for 3 weeks. It was the University of Maryland that saved my life. And my mother said to me when I came out of the coma, she said, Patrick, if you had been in Dallas, you would not have survived. I said, Mama, why you say that? She said, because I have never seen any medical care in Texas, in Dallas, where they treated a black man the way they took care of you. So yes, I put a lot of credence and a lot of credibility, and I contend I owe my life to God and to the University of Maryland Shock Trauma for saving me. So I highly recommend that you go there and go start getting a treatment, find out what's going on with you, even breast cancer, even terminal cancer. They have people that are in there that are getting chemotherapy and the proton. You know why? Because when they get the proton therapy, they can give them less chemotherapy. And the proton therapy is just radiation, and it targets the tumor, which discombobulates the tumor and helps it to eradicate it. So I don't care what stage you are, if you have cancer, you need to call the Maryland Proton Center. You can Google it, information, the Maryland Proton Center on I believe that's Baltimore and MLK down in the Biopark area. All right. I see there's a special assistant on the line. There's Bubby on the line. Hold on for a minute, because I just want to bow our heads, oh God. Lord, if you're near a radio and you have a phone or you're not in your car driving, I'm going to ask you all to just touch the radio so that we might touch and agree as we pray to our Father. Oh God, Lord, we love you. We bless you. We thank you for another day. Another day we woke up clothed in our right minds, oh God. Some of us didn't. Some of us didn't even know our name this morning, oh God. And we thank you for your mercy and your grace, oh God, that you would go there now, God, and give them peace, oh God. Let them rest and just relax, oh God. And put their lives in your hand and trust the people that are helping, oh God, and even let the people that are helping them to be better, oh God. Guide them, oh God. Let everything they do be done in love, oh God, in a healing way. Oh God, we love you and we thank you for everything, even the things we don't understand, because even in our trials where there is a lesson, oh God, we learn what we should and we learn what we shouldn't do. And we thank you for that, oh God. We're asking you right now, oh God, to bless our city, bless our mayor, bless our city. We know they are not all corrupt, oh God, but oh Lord, we ask you to touch every one of their hearts to bring about some sort of peace, and bless our police commissioner who's trying with all of his heart, mind, and soul to get things right here for us, oh Lord. Bless our children as they're getting ready to go back to school, oh God. Lord, put your arms of protection around them, oh God. Bless the homes as they leave every day, oh God. Help the parents, oh God, to find another way to wake them up instead of beating them and calling them names and cursing them out, then sending them to school and expecting them not to take it out on their fellow students and their teachers, oh God. Touch our homes, oh God. Let your love become pervasive everywhere. Let us rethink the way we've been raising our children, because it's not working, oh God. We know it's not working, but we don't know any other way. But the way is love, oh God. To not stop thinking of our children as property, but as a little human being in development, and a soon-to-be adult, oh God. Let us ask a question before we resort to violence, because when we resort to violence, that teaches them that violence is the only way to solve a problem. Lord, if we can't strike crime, why shouldn't it be for a child? I know people are going to say, Patrick, you don't know what you're talking about. Yes, I do, because I was once a child, and you were too, and you didn't like getting hit, and they don't either. Lord, help us to be more thoughtful, to be more mindful, to realize that these are not this is not property, but these are our children who someday will have to take care of us. Let us raise them up in a way, oh God, that not only they will love and remember our kindnesses unto them, oh God, but that they will be a benefit to society, to help our people get where we are trying to go. In thy Son, Jesus Christ's name, I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen and amen. All right, God bless each and every one of you for listening. Again, you're listening to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. Prayer changes things, and a lot of people think that prayer is magic. No, it's not. Prayer is therapy. It quietens your mind. It helps you to relax. And when you can relax, then not only can you physically relax, but spiritually you relax, and your mind can be fed those things that are positive. Remember this, that our minds are computers. They are their processors. They're constantly processing, regurgitating, going over and over the same thing every day. You got to tell yourself every day when the past is coming up, Lord, ain't nothing I can do about it. And then you got to tell your brain and your mind to shut up. We are not going there today. Take some practice, but I tell you what, it's well worth your time. And if you want to know more about that, I suggest you read a book called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. The Power of Now. It will be a blessing to you. It changed my life, and I know it will help you with yours. Richard?
Yes.
I know I just been going on and on and on. There's so much going on in the city, James. There's so much going on and on in the city. But I think what we're going to do is I'm going to see who this special assistant is. Hello, special assistant. Who are you a special assistant to?
I'm a special assistant to the Special Patrick radio show. I want to be the assistant to everybody on that great show. We just need you to have a 5-hour show, because you got the best show in town. And I want you to know this, and that is that God is with you. He not only is healing you, but He is giving you the intellect to say no to one group and yes to another one who wants to do better by you rather than cutting you.
Yes.
So this is Doc Cheatham. I just want to say, guys, keep doing what y'all doing.
Oh man, Doc, you know what? When I see you, I'm gonna have to tap you, because I've been missing you, and I know you've been busy. I've been reading all of your emails and stuff, and you're talking about how things are changing. You're seeing a bit of changes. Y'all finna get a grocery store up in there or what?
No, we're not there yet, but we're doing God's work to try to get it to us. I definitely don't want to hold you up. I just want to say this. I'm thinking what I'm hearing coming from you in opening your show. About 5 years ago, before Wynn became the health commissioner, we were having Men's Blue Suit Health Awareness Weekend, and we were educating men, especially black men, things to do to lengthen their lives, but basically take care of their health. I'm sad to say when she took over, that program ended. I'm listening to you, and I know we as black, intelligent, articulate black men need to bring that Men's Blue Suit Health Awareness Weekend back, because the best healers that we can have is having men talk to men about it, because sometimes men won't talk to women about their ailments and how they feel, but we feel comfortable sitting in a barber seat, sitting at a football game, drinking a beer, talking about health. So guys, we got to do something more about health, and starting with myself. But Patrick, God is an awesome God, as you well know. We're just so glad we're going to have you at least 100 more years, my brother.
Oh, bless you. Thank you so much, Doc.
Have a great show, guys. Break a leg, and I'll be listening in.
All right.
Hopefully I'm going to break down and buy a car until I finish suing the city for messing up my car.
I know that's right. Thank you, and we're praying for that, and that the Lord is going to give you the desires of your heart, my brother, because you definitely deserve them. Well, Well, I dropped him again. Well, she's sticking my finger in the wrong hole here. I thought I didn't intend to drop him. I didn't even touch that dog. Get it, Richard. Call
You
back.
were dumping Doc, and I was trying to lock Richard in.
Simultaneously. Well, I'm really excited. In fact, I wanted to announce to you all that we have a new position open. Brother Leo Burrows has decided that his schedule is too much for him, so he won't be an anchor here for a while until he can sort of free up his schedule to do things. So I'm looking for another anchor. I would like to have a lady. I would like to have someone that is really a top of what's going on in the city that can speak from a female perspective here on the show. So if you're interested, and a male too, it doesn't matter. I don't care. I'm just looking for people that I feel can match our present lineup. And as you know, this is just a we're also activists. We're also people who love God and love our fellow man, because the Bible says that we have to love our neighbor as ourselves. Love ourselves here, because we love ourselves, we love you, and we're here to prompt you. But there's a young man that not only do I admire, and am just wishing the best for him always, because he's such a consistent. Consistent young man with what he does. Please welcome Mr. Christopher Irving. How are you, Christopher?
I'm fine, Patrick. Brother James, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I miss church on Sunday, so me and James go to the same church.
Oh, you go to the New Psalmist?
Yes, I do.
Well,
a couple of demerits as a result.
Couple of demerits. Let me see. I got to get your
my first
microphone
absence.
No,
Couple of Hail Marys and amens.
Yes. I got the microphone up. Yeah, text. Oh, no, you in the room. Come on up to the microphone. Come on, Christopher, would you introduce us to her?
This is community who is incredibly in touch with what's going on in communities across the city. Mm-hmm. And we were out and about looking at some potential projects and having some community discussions. Mm-hmm. And then I said, but I got to get over to Patrick's show, where these kind of conversations are taking place for the greater community to hear them. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to encourage her to put her voice into the airwaves, yes, because she has a lot of knowledge, and Amen. A lot of passion.
Yes.
So
I saw. Was it you before then, didn't I?
Forest Park. I knew it was somewhere. I've been on the battlefield for a while.
That's
here.
Right.
But when I meet a soldier, I know it. So I had been trying to reach her. And Lord, see, I'm going to tell you what. Whom God did foreknow, He did predestinate.
That's right.
And whom He predestinate, He justifies. And whom He justifies, He glorifies.
Praise Him.
Because He knew my heart when I heard her at those meetings that I needed to talk to her because of all the things that are going on. And you are absolutely right. She is a source that the public needs to know. Please say yes. Go ahead.
So you hit on something, and she knows these discussions on the way here, but. This is, by rank, I would consider her a colonel, definitely. Not a sergeant corporal. She's definitely a colonel. Miss Billy Malcolm.
Hi, Billy. How are you?
Well, hello there, Patrick. Ooh. And listen, don't act like I didn't reach back out.
Yeah, you did.
I did. So you owe me a call back.
See, that tells you, colonel.
Well, I've been going through a little bit some here lately, but after Friday, I'm on it. And trust me, I know this is nothing but divine time, providence.
That's
that
right.
You would come today and to be here. Billy, tell us a little bit about what you do. Tell us what you do.
Well, today I was moving through the community with Christopher, taking a look at Howard Park. I'm at the Baltimore Community Foundation, and one of our investment areas is Howard Park, as well as Forest Park. And so the Northwest has been a little forgotten, I think. Yeah. And so I'm meeting with folks on the ground to make sure that our investment is informed by the people who live in the community, who work in these communities, play in these communities, again, historically black communities that need to be lifted up in these times. So it's prime property. I'm always hearing that G word, gentrification. So, we're taking a look at what can we do to lift up communities that are in need and have historically been worth it, right?
Yes.
If we don't pay attention now, we're going to have something on our hands later.
Yeah, well, we got something on our hands every
Right
day. I
now.
wake up, I see a new neighbor in my community walking their dogs. One, and I told you all about the one that was walking his pig in my community.
Yes,
And
you did. You talking about the pig.
I couldn't
but
believe
sound like
it.
you've been nice to the man with the pig.
Well, you know why?
Why?
Because he has other dogs that are missing legs.
Okay.
And stuff, so he seems to be a humanitarian
Gotcha.
as far as so. And you know, they could say that these what are they, Vietnam pigs are more intelligent than dogs.
Wow.
And I told him, I said, all right, no problem, but I tell you what, don't you let him get out, because these are Southerners here. He will be bacon in the uncured, but he will be bacon in the morning and a pork roast before dinner time if you don't watch him. So we know what's going on. Billy, this is really interesting. That I guess Billy Malcolm, right?
Yes.
Why she keeps looking at everybody and saying,
because I didn't think I'd be on the radio here today, but since y'all are family, I guess I got to go with it, right?
oh
There you
yeah,
go.
right.
There you go.
This,
There you go.
this ain't by no accident. You're supposed to be here, and I want you here because I want to introduce a young man that is a soldier. He is doing an incredible job, and he's got some information for us. Bubby, are you there?
I want you here because
Bubby?
I want to introduce.
Bubby, there you are. Bubby,
He is doing an incredible
Bubby.
job.
Bubby, turn your radio down.
Turn your radio down, Bubby.
Bubby, are you there? Yes, sir. You know I'm here.
All right, turn that radio down. I know you're there.
I'm with you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you very well. You called me this morning. You know, man, thank you. No, go ahead and tell us what's on your mind to expedite time. We've got 2 minutes before noon, so go ahead and tell us what's going on with the housing
Like I'm
department.
saying, I have been investigating a certain issue concerning some misappropriation of some money from the Baltimore City Housing Authority with a joint partnership with the Hill Campaign with DPW.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the supervisor tech. Now, the reason I use these names so everything can be perfectly clear, it's the supervisor tech and it's the superintendent. The superintendent in charge of that particular division.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they did not have a supervisor. They did not have a superintendent.
Mm-hmm.
So the supervisor tech, a gentleman by the name of Leroy Williams, was doing all the duties of the superintendent.
Mm-hmm.
I later found out that Leroy Williams had a extermination general contractor license, which means the Baltimore City Housing Authority exterminators come under his personal license.
Mm-hmm.
So they wanted to make Leroy Williams a superintendent. Leroy Williams turned the job down respectfully.
Hold up for a minute, because this is going to shoot you. You're listening. Don't you go nowhere. You're listening to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. Oh my God, y'all wait till y'all don't you touch that dial.
Time to get distracted, and this is not the time to go off course.
WOLB Baltimore and WERQ FM HD3 Baltimore. Brought to you by Live Casino and Hotel.
The views and opinions of the guest and host you hear on 1010 WOLB
are not necessarily those of the staff and management of Radio 1, its sponsors, or advertisers.
Yes, somehow push my way through the crowd. I'm gonna grab you by the hand to a place we will stand round. No
All right,
fear.
welcome back.
It's clear.
It's clear. I believe in you. Bubby, go ahead. Keep telling us. We're listening to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Like I was saying, Leroy Williams' title at the Baltimore City Housing Authority is supervisor tech, not superintendent. He was called down 417 to meet with what I believe was Nick Carlace, who is the deputy director of the Baltimore City Housing Authority. Someone else was in there, but I have not collaborated. Was that the person or not? So I don't want
Corroborated,
to
yeah.
But one person that I do know, Nick Carlace, which is a snake from the pit of hell. So they made Leroy Williams an offer to take this superintendent. Leroy Williams stated that he is not interested in the superintendent position. He would like to stay at the supervisor tech. Now, mind you, they owe Leroy Williams close to $80,000 for using his license, what they not been compensating for. When Leroy Williams turned down the superintendent position, a call came in from someone who not yet, I don't want to put the name out there because I can't corroborate it. He made a racial epithet around the lines of, that stupid ass nigga didn't take the position, didn't take the office. Leroy Williams was irate. So they tell Leroy Williams, we are suspending you with pay for 2 weeks. Leroy Williams rose up to leave out of the conference room. Nick Carlace jumped in front of the conference room door saying, give me your keys, give me your phone, give me your ID. Mr. Williams complied and gave the keys and the phone. Complied and gave the keys and the ID. The phone was his own personal cell phone. So he told them that this my cell phone.
Bubby,
yes?
just be careful with your language, because every time you do that, I have to dump and we lose 8 seconds over air. So just no N words and no cuss words.
Okay,
I continue, my brother.
Just repeat what was said to me.
All right.
Okay, so Mr. Williams tried to exit the conference room. Carlace blocked the conference room door. Mr. Williams brushed past Mr. Carlace, who was blocking his entrance, in fact kidnapping him. Mr. Williams left out and went home. Later that day, an arrest warrant was put out for Mr. Williams for assaulting Nick Carlace. Mr. Williams was arrested and spent several days in central booking.
Are you serious? I'm sorry to say, are you serious? That just sounds so unbelievable. That they were trying to hold this man against his will, and then when he tried to escape, they pressed charges on him, so there would be a record that he was arrested?
Yeah, he was arrested for several days and now out on bail. But the most sinister thing is, if you remember, I mentioned a young man who used to be a maintenance technician there named Darius Lyons, and also Leroy Williams. Because they are friends of mine, they figured that they was the ones giving me information. And Janet Abrams instructed her legal staff and her deputy directors to terminate all those who they think are giving me information. But now go back to it, where Mr. Williams stated to me that the union president of the superintendent and the vice president tried to extort him for $20,000.
What?
Yes. In order for them to help him to recoup the pay and the money, the back money that owed to him, the union president and the vice president tried to extort him.
Wow.
See, so we must be perfectly clear with that cesspool at housing leadership that's going on. Now, mind you, the 647 local will represent all the maintenance employees, technicians, and maintenance workers, tools, and mechanics. They are still in legal negotiating for a fair contract. And like I told you, Janet Abraham colluded with the former Housing Commissioner Dan Henson to contact Glenn Middleton, who is the executive director, to get those members to sign off on a deal that is not fair. And nothing has been done. And let me say, I have called for an audit of the extermination department when I was told by someone in the know down there that is more than $300,000 that is missing from this program, the HEAL campaign.
Wow. What do we need to do here? I hope Luke Broadwater is listening. We're going to get in touch with what's the Baltimore Brew and turn them on to this story, because there has to be a paper trail to verify what you're saying. So you've been talking about this. We hope the mayor is listening. We hope City Hall is listening. We hope the comptroller is missing. I understand that you did request an audit be done on the housing department.
And Patrick, because I know you got to go, Janet Abrams, the executive director, have had housing authority contractors, employees working at her personal residence on the clock.
Ooh, this is beyond Juicy Burger. Man, I tell you, this is just too much. And for them, this easy to be verified. They were trying to take the gentleman's phone because they wanted to prove that he was the whistleblower, and that he was giving you information. Is that why they were trying to take his phone? Why were they trying to take his phone?
I believe so. But now, if he running the program, he got all the emails that can back up everything that I say.
He should send those emails to certain people, so in case something unfortunately happens to him, that they're still away. So I would suggest that you do that.
Speaking with him today, he sounded so bad. You know, like he
Depressed.
was like this stress is weighing on him.
Wow.
So I suggested he should not come on the radio until he get his thoughts together, because this is weighing on a young man, because this is what they do. This is what they do.
Well, we will come to him if he needs to, if he wants to tell us what's going on. He doesn't have to come here. And I regret maybe that you might
I'll do my best to make sure you get the first interview with him.
We appreciate it. So, Bubby, bless you, man. Thank you so much. You know, the Bible says when we care for the least of us, it's talking about the poor, even though the Bible says the poor we will have with us always. But this is America. And the poor have come up, we know, because every black person that entered these gates into this hellhole that has been sometimes America, we approve that the poor are not always with us, that they can rise above it. But when our tax dollars are paying to take care of them and to help them rise from poverty, and then the people that are in charge are stealing the money, misappropriating the money, then we have to stand up, people. We have to stand up. And so, Bubby, thank you, man. Bless you. I pray God's protection around you. All right, you too. Thank you so much.
Patrick, do we have anything as it relates to, have we gotten any hard responses from people as it relates to audits? We're talking about, at this point, what is it, DPW? We're looking at the school board. There's so many areas where monies are reportedly coming into the city that it doesn't seem to be trickling down to the impact end.
No, not even the youth fund.
Right, and so there's so much talk about audits, but have we received a single one back yet that we can have a substantial discussion?
Stephanie Rollins Blake, didn't she order them, and then they were never released? They were done, I understand, but they were never released. James?
I'm not aware of the release of any audits.
What about you, Richard? Oh, hold on. Richard, I'm sorry. What about you? Are you aware of any audits that have been released?
What I'm understanding of that whole issue during that time, I think Joan Pratt, she was saying that some of the audits couldn't be done because she did not have enough staff to do it.
Right. But wasn't the money appropriated for her to do them?
I think so. I'm not sure.
I thought so, too. That was where I kind of
Well, I guess I want to know how we track the budget in Baltimore City, and I don't know that. Yeah. And I think we should know that.
Well, that's what the governor is saying, too. But I had a conversation a few years back with Joan Pratt, and she said the problem is that general fund, because they just put money in there, and then it's their discretion to spend it. Now, they need to be earmarked. Everything needs to be earmarked so it can be followed, because at this point, millions upon millions of dollars, which is why the governor is hesitant to send money to the school board, to send money to the city.
That's where the problem starts getting in, and that's when the rhetoric starts again, because the minute that he calls for audits or says that he wants to know where it's going, all of a sudden you hear the audit, well, the governor hates the city, the governor hates this, the governor hates that. That's when the rhetoric comes out.
Yeah, absolutely, and then people just fall back into their places instead of going, the governor is right, where is our money going? Y'all, this is millions upon millions of dollars. I understand in the last quarter that the lottery took in over $500 million. That was
they took over $1 billion, but the cut to the education fund was $500 million, I believe.
$500 million, but the next thing I want to do, and I'm gonna keep on rolling here because we know, and Billy, you came and you went to the Ashburton meetings and you saw what was happening. They putting in, covering up, making sure they protect the water of Ashburton Lake, right? Covering up the water so that terrorists can't get it. When did a terrorist ever attack a black city, black majority? First off, but second of all, why is it they could find money to do that, but they couldn't find the money to take these lead pipes out of our public schools? Why? It is genocide. I don't care what anybody says. They don't care. All these children y'all looking at around here, walking around shooting each other and stuff, I would guarantee you that 90% of those children are sick with lead poisoning. It is a degenerative disease that now is so bad that the parents are birthing children with it because it has gotten into their bone marrow, and now they're passing it on to their children. They don't have to live in a lead-infested place anymore. It is in the bone marrow of the parents. So all of this madness, I don't care what nobody wants to talk about it. Somebody mentioned it the other day. But if these were white kids, you would be guaranteed there would be a support at every corner, trying to help these children to manage their lives. And I know they're sick. I know personally they're sick. In my recording studio, they used to come in there, would have got $100,000 and come in 2 weeks later and not have a dime because they didn't know how to manage it. I tried to get them, come on, let me help you. Let's go buy a little duplex. You can live on one side for free and then that'll pay your rent so you'll never have to worry about a place to live. They didn't understand that, you all. They are not, it's not normal. They are not normal. They have a completely thing because the lead is eating up their brains. So until we understand that, we can keep talking about arresting them, talking about what needs to be done, why our schools are failing, but you must realize that we've got some sick children so bad that even the water in the schools is still filled with lead. James?
Yes, sir.
Let me take a couple of calls, and I want to get on some other things we wanted to talk about.
I wanted to make a comment on that, too.
Please, go right ahead, Jay.
Well, I read an article a couple of weeks ago from Psychology Today that said that over 70% of those that are incarcerated have some sort of substance, cognitive, neurological, or developmental issue.
There was a report, and when at the what do you call it downtown where they arrest people, where they take them, the correction, what's the name of it? Central Booking. 40% of every 18 to 25-year-old has mental problems. 40%. Now, they're just finally starting to check them. They're also finally starting to check them after we protested 3 years ago to the Department of Health with what was her name, with Lena Wynn, that they were not giving checking people for STDs and HIV in the jail. Now they are implementing that because of Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. They called and thanked us for that because they weren't doing it, because these boys go down there and they call it gay for the stay, and they get busy with the other boys down there, then they come out and they straighten up right and go back with their girls, and they're giving their girls HIV. The biggest infection rate in Baltimore is women being given HIV. You all, it is a conspiracy. I don't care what you say. It is genocidal. It will take millions and trillions of dollars to treat all of these people for HIV. It is not an inexpensive disease. So we want to thank the health department for doing what they did to start checking people before and after they leave the jails for STDs and HIV. We want to thank them, but they need to do more. They need to do more. Did you want to say something, Christopher?
I'm thinking that, and this is something that I probably should have done before. I would like to know how many agencies function under the control of the mayor in Baltimore City. I would like to know the structure of those agencies, who's at the head, and what are the billets under that head of that agency. What is their role? Like, when we talk about the money, when we talk about the impact, who's addressing what issues, whether it be the health commissioner, we need to know the structure of this city.
Mr. Urban?
Yes, sir.
To be perfectly honest, the first place you need to look is Article 1 of the Baltimore City Code.
Okay.
Because that will tell you every agency and every commission and every board runs through the office of the mayor.
Whoa.
And does it name them by department?
No, it doesn't name them by department, but it just says all agencies and boards come through the office of the mayor.
But the issue should be what's allocated to that department and how is that allocation spent.
And that comes after we determine what the department is.
Correct.
And then who works in those departments, what are the allocations, and therefore what are those salaries. We're like, this is how auditing is supposed to work. We need to know what we need to know before we can dig into it.
And then, part of that, would have to come through city council as well.
Well, it appears to me that nobody has. Everything is squishy and fungible. So I just need a spreadsheet which says, this is how much money Patrick was supposed to have. And this is how Patrick spent it. And then I can assess whether Patrick should stay in that job or whether he should be doing something else.
What do we attribute the recalcitrance? Why isn't that the way that it is? And I believe it's Byron, what's his name? Not Brandon Scott, who's running for mayor, who contends that he wants to bring in a city manager.
Yeah,
in hopes of establishing those kinds of
he hasn't said he's running for mayor yet.
Oh, he hasn't.
Right.
Oh,
but he's on the mayor tour as we speak, though.
Yeah, well, he hasn't said it right. Man, I tell you.
How you doing?
We're doing good, DJ. How are you? Welcome. You have a question or comment?
Yeah, I got a question for you, man.
Come forth.
I really got a question for you. Are you listening?
Yes, sir. Everybody's listening. Come on with it.
Baby, put your phone on mute because we got all that music all that in the background.
Turn your radio down.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Here's my question.
Okay.
And my heart goes out to that young boy that passed away this Saturday.
Which young boy? Oh, from the two. We're going to get to that, but go ahead.
Yes. I want to say this real fast, real quick. Listeners, boy, make this. Just say you, and you had a daughter that's 2 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And that suspect come to you.
Mm-hmm.
And you with your daughter is with maybe your partner.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all both have license to carry.
Mm-hmm.
The same suspect comes at you.
Mm-hmm.
When he turns around, so you got your daughter on your left hand, then you got your gun on your right hand.
Mm-hmm.
So when he come at you, you really don't have too much time to be thinking of nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You grab your gun with your right hand because you're a right-hand shooter.
Mm-hmm.
By the time you grab your gun, he turns away. He starts to walk
Mm-hmm.
or run or what have you.
Mm-hmm.
In your mind, the way he's walking, you don't know if he's going to turn around and say, you know what, let me go ahead and finish him off.
Mm-hmm.
Do you take the risk of him turning around with a pistol that he already pulled out on you, not only striking you, but your daughter? So what do? Do you strike at the chance that you get? Or do you say, hey, take my wallet, take my daughter too? Come on, man.
Well,
Some officers did what they had to do. I don't condone it.
Okay.
But
all right.
It's real. It's real.
DJ, I hear you, but what? DJ, hold up. Okay, it's a two-way conversation. My only problem with it, and I hear you, their lives they felt in jeopardy. But why is it if the assailant is white, he's treated differently?
No. Let's don't use the color.
Sir, history.
This situation.
You cannot.
I say you have your daughter.
I hear you.
In your left hand.
I hear you.
Listen. You have your daughter on your left hand.
Mm-hmm.
You are a right hand shooter.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't care if the person was purple. What would you do to defend your daughter?
He turned and walked, and I understand that he might change his pose.
Would
he might change
turn
his.
around and walk away?
Yeah, I tell you no, but I'm not sure I would.
Using this color stuff, man.
Well, I wish we could, but I wish the police would stop using it, sir. If that was the case.
Let's just say, because my wife, she have a license to carry.
Uh-huh.
What about if it was just a civilian that had a license to carry? They got that same right as an officer of the law.
Right. But she's not an officer of the law. You would think they would be trained to realize the guy's walking away. That obviously he is not trying to harm them.
Let's say this again. Let me tell you a quick.
No, I don't have that much time. But thank you so much for your conversation. We were going to get to that because it was the first thing that I was confronted with when I walked through the door. Because a lot of people are concerned about this. But I will just say, you noticed the last two mass domestic terrorists that they did that got away. They took them and took the gun and had full scale conversations with these people. And they had just killed in one instance 30 people and stuff. But it seems to be a difference. And until I think that is dealt with, then we're going to have an issue with trying to say whether people are using reasonable judgment, especially a police officer who is trained. I understand that he was protecting his wife. Two police. Oh my God, two police. And the guy turned and walked, and they shot him how many times in the back?
Multiple times.
Yeah, that's a hard one to swallow, sir. I understand what you're saying, but that's a hard one to swallow because it was two and it was one, so it was automatically this guy was outgunned. Thomas, welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. Yes, sir.
Hey, guy, how you guys doing today?
We hanging in there. That last call just unsettled me a little bit because I understand what the brother is saying. You have to protect yourself, but go ahead, Thomas. What is your question?
It's my friend Christopher Irvin in there.
Yes, sir.
Chris, I have a question.
Could you get off your speakerphone? The audio is terrible.
I'm sorry, man. Let me do this right here.
All right. I think I'm just, for my listeners, everybody, some of us have hearing aids, and we need it as clear as we can get it. Starting with me, I don't wear one yet, but what happened? Did we lose someone? Did we lose Thomas?
Yeah, we might have lost Thomas.
Okay, we're going to get Thomas. Thomas, call back. Ben, welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. Do you have a question or comment, sir? How are you?
This is Ben. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, fine. What I wanted is this. 2 weeks ago, Bubby had left a telephone number on the radio, and I wrote down the first 3 digits of the phone number, but I didn't get the last 4. So I called the station, called our young had called Jake, tried to get Jason in the back, but he had already left. Do you know the last 4 digits to his number? I can call him.
You know what? You have my number. Call me. I cannot believe I walked out my house and left my phone. So I'm just a little naked here, okay? Trying to hide it with a fig leaf, but it ain't working because I needed my phone. So call me at home. You have my number, and I'll give it to you.
Give it to me one time, Patrick.
Okay, I will do it. We'll do it. Thank you. Thomas, call back. 410-481-1010, 410-481-1010. I got another question for y'all. How y'all doing with y'all city council people? I wanted to talk about that because that's a question that's coming up, but we need to start talking about now and put them on guard so maybe they get on their jobs in case they're not. How are you dealing at all? What is your relationship with your city council person? 410-481-1010, the next topic of discussion. Thomas, go ahead.
Hey, Patrick.
Yes, sir.
Believe it or not, that's exactly why I'm calling to speak to my friend Christopher Urban right now.
Okay, perfect lead in.
What is this thing going on with Izzy, the city council person Izzy, instructing city workers to take Christopher Urban's sign down in the 5th district? What's going on with that?
Well, we can't discuss that because we can't. He is a contestant. He can't discuss it, but I can. Because Christopher is in an area that are the area which these people are vying for office is a heavily Jewish area. It is, and we know we've had problems there for a very, very long time, with the dating back to Ricky Spector, where they would change the voting place and didn't tell the people in the community where the new place was and waited till the day of. So we know there's suppression happening there. So I'm not surprised that would be happening, but I find it really egregious and against principles. And if a person is that sneaky already, they don't deserve to hold office, is my opinion about that. But
you are 100% right about that, man.
Yeah.
And my last point I want to make, guys, my last thing I want to ask about, did anybody see that press conference that Jack Young, the police commissioner, and the governor had?
Did you see that?
Now tell me if I'm wrong with this. Did not Jack Young act like a big old kid that wants to take his marbles and go home?
I didn't see it. I didn't see it. Why do you say he did that? You said
I think he does have an issue with the press.
The press were asking him questions and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, he came up, he was answering the questions, and then he abruptly just said, "Bye, y'all."
Yeah, well, maybe he does get a little overwhelmed by it, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because I think he's still feeling his way as mayor. I really do, because I don't care what y'all say. I have never seen this city this clean, and that was before Trump even said what he was saying. He is doing some things in this city that needed to be done, and he obviously had the eye to see that it needed to be done. Of course, I wish he would fix the potholes in the front of Mondawmin Mall because our cars are being torn up just trying to get to work from that major thoroughfare. But we got on them about all those speed cameras there. They took all those speed cameras down, but we need the mayor to come in there and fix that up because that is probably one of the biggest sales tax bases in the city for our community.
I think if he's going to remain to hold that position, I think that he needs to be a little bit more open to the media and needs to be more open to the public.
Maybe so. I only interviewed him one time and it was off the record, but I know he has some issues with the way people perceive him. Right. So he's on guard a little bit, and it's because he doesn't want to be perceived as not knowing or whatever. So I'm still going to give him the benefit of the doubt, Mr. Mayor. I'm with you, sir. We would love to have you on our show anytime. You are invited here to speak, and we promise you a friendly gathering.
Who was the last person you gave a benefit of the doubt to like that?
Catherine Pugh.
Hey, guys, I will say this one thing though: if he wants to continue to be mayor, mm-hmm. he has to find a way to divert that city infrastructure money, mm-hmm. put it into the hands of the citizens and not these developers, man.
How do you mean? The citizens don't have the wherewithal to repair the infrastructure. What do you mean?
The money has to go back into the city.
Mm-hmm.
Our money is being given
to different developers
around the country.
Lewis Construction Company, Spinarello.
Lewis is a Baltimore Hispanically owned company.
M. Louise.
M. Louise, right?
Yeah, Louise. I think it's pronounced Louise. Luis.
Yes, sir. But
that's what I'm saying.
Okay, but we need more black companies that have been approved to be approved to do that work. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying. We need more black companies, Patrick, to be approved to do that work because, Patrick, who can get to the heart of the black community than the black your black contractors, man?
Well,
Patrick,
I agree.
With all the knowledge that you have as far as helping our kids in school.
Mm-hmm.
If I was mayor, man, I would put you up for superintendent.
It's similar to the ABC issue.
Well, what is the ABC issue, Rick?
Which nonprofits were chosen for funding and which weren't. Exactly.
That's exactly right.
Associated Black Charities.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, don't.
I'm
get
sorry.
Me,
yes.
Yeah, don't get me started. Don't get me started. And I think I heard someone say that the 7 of the people that applied for it had the weakest thing, and they were awarded. And somebody like was Cameron Miles, is that his name?
Correct.
Which one of the best known agencies in doing work, they were denied it. So that's some problems that definitely with the Associated Black Charities. They associated with the wrong people, it seems, because they don't seem to get the money where it's supposed to go.
And that's what Thomas is saying.
Okay.
Yeah, so before Jack took over as mayor, when he was just the I think it was interim mayor. I guess that's the word.
Interim, yes.
Before he was the mayor, and so what he said was that he was going to investigate the Associated Black Charities to see what wrong was done, and if they have done wrong, that he was not going to do business with them.
But check it out! What just happened last week? The comptroller invited them to come to the Board of Estimates meeting, and they didn't show up. Didn't even send a representative. How arrogant is that?
Well,
but they still got their money, Patrick.
I know.
The city's still giving them money.
Well, you talk about arrogance. I guess that's where I want to go. I want to know, what do you want from your city council? What do you want from your mayor? I can sort of name the things I want from a city council person. I want them to be responsive to me. If I call up and I say, I got rats in my backyard, and the public works folks haven't done their job. I want to know that city council person is going to go to public works and say, you need to do something. And I need to know that you did something. And so there are a whole panoply of, whole list of, I'm sorry.
I'm always on this case with our vocabulary. We don't want to alienate y'all, so we got to break it down.
There's a whole list of things that I want from an elected official. And if you're not working in my self-interest, then I'm going to move on to somebody else.
That's right.
And people don't seem to think that way, or at least they don't feel that they're going to be able to have an impact.
They don't feel empowered. Why?
And people need to do it. I mean, they
need
James,
to say, why don't they feel empowered?
Because they don't see the result.
Like Rudy Child, Rudy Child, who's the director of Public Works. Okay, since he's been in office, what has Public Works done for the city of Baltimore?
Well, let me
because the money. Our water bills, Patrick, is the highest now than it has ever been.
Man, tell me about it. I just got my bill.
But see, like James just said, is part of the problem is people don't know what to expect because they don't understand what the billet, what the role of that billet is. They don't know what a council person is actually supposed to do. I would ask you, Patrick, if you could invite Betsy Gardner, who has worked for the mayor for a long time and is very good in community constituent response. She worked for Councilwoman Ricky Spector for a long time. And the knowledge that I've seen her share with communities, she's a very good source of being able to explain, and if not her, someone else. But I think we need to know what the role is supposed to do
Jason,
first.
Can we book her? Let's see if we can book her. I've never seen her on a radio show. Have you? Has anybody ever?
Cheryl Goldstein then, guys.
Who?
Cheryl Goldstein.
Who is Cheryl Goldstein?
Gray Bernstein's wife, who is Mayor Jack Young's deputy mayor.
Oh, wow! What's his assistant name? Lester Young? Is that what's his?
Lester is Jack's assistant, but Cheryl Goldstein is the one that you have to go to get even an interview with Jack or anybody.
Wow. Richard, do you know that to be the case, Jason?
No, I mean, but I'm pretty sure that, again, the deputy mayor would be higher than Lester Davis, of course.
Right. And that would be Cheryl Goldstein.
Is it that we feel as though some people say that I just think that the mayor just, he's just being cautious by not doing it. Some people say he doesn't like the press. He did make some statements about the press, but I don't know if that was in protection of trying to make sure that he's able to get his program through.
But I think when you sit in a position as the mayor's position, you have to be open to scrutiny and you have to be open to accountability, and that also starts with being open to the press.
Well, the city council too should be
exactly. That extends to every area of government. So if you want the mayor to be accountable, you need to have the city council president and the rest of the council. And the irritation that I have is that, for example, I was one of 30-some people who went down to City Hall to protest the new water bills, the new water system. 30 people. All of us said no. We had statements. We left statements. There were a couple of people on the Board of Estimates that weren't even paying attention. And we got no result.
Nothing.
Those are the kinds of government officials that need to be put out.
Well, but they're saying that we need to change that whole system down there. The mayor has too many people that votes, and it cancels out the others that might be opposing. Maybe they need to reconsider that. I went down there for years for a long time with Rhonda Winbish, and we would sit there when Stephanie Rollins Blake was getting ready, and Child was the one that said that's too high. We don't need to raise the water bill that high, and Stephanie Rollins Blake pushed it anyway. You're listening to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People on WOLB 1010. Don't touch that dial.
So please don't let the time you've so be wasted.
Talking the day, soul at night on the new 1010 WOLB.
Ron had a tax problem he just couldn't handle on his own.
I owed the IRS taxes for over 5 years, but I didn't have any money to pay the taxes.
Those years cost him dearly.
Most of it was fees and interest. It was horrible.
Ron finally called in the pros.
I called Optima Tax Relief, and boy, am I happy I did.
The leading tax resolution firm, Optima, is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. They've resolved over $500 million for their clients. Ron was overjoyed.
They settled my account with the IRS. I was ecstatic. They are a lifesaver. They are. I am so happy.
Take Ron's advice and call Optima now for a free consultation.
Yeah, don't do like I did and wait. Call Optima Tax Relief. Do it now. You'll be ecstatic like me.
Call 800-799-0977. That's 800-799-0977. 800-799-0977.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Sergeant Alberto Velasco faced an uncertain future after serving his country.
At the age of 27, I was involved in a motor vehicle accident. I have 2 kids and a wife to support, where to turn. I was going through a really bad phase of my life. Mentally and physically, I was just done. And I don't know where I would be without paralyzed veterans.
Winston Woodard III, Paralyzed Veterans of America.
My job as a service officer with the Paralyzed Veterans of America is to ensure these veterans have what they need to thrive and move forward with their lives. And we are there to assist, providing expertise with VA benefits, assistance, and advocacy.
They know everything there is about benefits. Paralyzed veterans have helped me out from getting self-sufficient to getting me a new job. Paralyzed veterans changed my life 1,000%.
Paralyzed Veterans of America serves hundreds and thousands of wounded veterans, and we're going to continue to be their partners for life.
Thank you, Paralyzed Veterans. Your support made me whole again.
Learn more at pva.org. A public service message from Paralyzed Veterans of America.
WOLB Baltimore and WERQ-FM HD3 Baltimore.
The views and opinions of the guest and host you hear on 1010 WOLB
are not necessarily those of the staff and management of Radio 1, its sponsors, or advertisers.
Welcome back to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. Oh man, what a day, what a show. Thomas, are you still there? Thomas, did we lose him? Okay. Richard.
He should have still been there.
Oh, Thomas, if you are, call back. I'd like your input here. Richard, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, we want to talk now about the air surveillance issue that is front and center, with the police commissioner deciding he didn't want that technology used. The people were, some of the people considered it to be an invasion of their privacy, and they didn't want it. But of course, we know that when you walk out your house, your privacy is no longer your privacy because you could lose your life.
And that wasn't his actual statement.
What was his actual statement?
So originally, his spokesperson said that he had no thought of using this program, that he wasn't going to implement it. Right, that's what his spokesman said. But the commissioner said on Tuesday that he is still open to the possibility of possibly looking into the technology.
James, yes, I thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I knew that no final decision had been made.
Okay.
The original view that was publicized was that he had said no, but in actuality, no final decision has been made. I think there is still some room for people to make their case.
Yes.
Well, that's where Ricky Spector comes in.
Yeah.
How is that?
Because Ricky Spector is the one that's been pushing this hard and heavy. She's been on other stations, shall we say, pushing this and pushing this and pushing this, along with the gentleman who's the president of the company,
Ross McNutt.
McNutt, yeah. And they, between the two of them, they're the ones that have been pushing the whole project. Now, when we talk about the right to privacy, the Supreme Court has said that it is not an absolute right. But what happens is, as long as it's in a public place, and that's the key word, public place, surveillance can be done.
Because the government doing it for years.
Well, not only the government has been doing it for years. Let's put it this way: every place we go now, there is a camera somewhere. There are certain countries around the world where you have more cameras per capita than you would really realize.
Yeah, and they've been advantageous too.
The UK.
Yeah, all Scandinavia, all over the world.
Now,
every block.
Now, so what happens is, in addition to, we're talking aerial surveillance, there's so much ground surveillance that nobody is talking about. This new Ring camera system that's on your doorbell.
Yes.
They can track a person from a crime scene going in any direction, because you got to figure that some building is going to have a camera on it, or somebody's front door is going to have a camera on it.
Right. I've got cameras at 180 degrees on my house. You walk by the sidewalk, you drive by, it's all directly to my phone. So you're absolutely right.
And the law states that, again, it's reasonable expectation of privacy. So, of course, if I go in a dressing room, I go into a bathroom, I expect to have
that's
privacy.
Unreasonable there.
Correct. So, but if I'm out in a public space, then there is no reasonable expectation of my privacy when I'm out in an open space.
Well, why do you think that the parts of the public are so against it, Jason?
It's because of the past pro-COINTEL history that the black community has had. We know that the CIA, we know that the FBI, we know that law enforcement agencies have spied upon the black community, especially our black activists and our black community leaders like the Black Panthers. We have a bad history
like Martin
of
Luther
this.
King.
And Martin Luther King as well. We know that the phones were tapped, the conversations,
the beds were tapped.
People were infiltrated, by the governmental organizations.
Yeah, people infiltrated the organizations. So that's why you think it is. But let me make sure I understand this technology. If a gunshot is fired, it immediately senses where that individual is, and then it follows them so that the police can know where they went. Is that
triangulate to say within a blocks or so where the shot was emanated?
Not 100% accurate. So what the surveillance plane does is it constantly records video surveillance up to about 32 square miles, which is a very large portion of the city. The only time the information is analyzed is when there is a shooting, and then what they do is they go back based on the GPS GPS clock time based on a time that the incident happened. They go back to that area of the footage where the shot may have been reported either through ShotSpotter or by police and law enforcement, and they go and they look back at that scene where the incident took place at, and then they follow the little dots of cars and folks running away from the scenes, and they try to determine exactly where those persons or persons may have went after the scene, or even in some cases where that vehicle came from, to determine exactly the location of possibly the hideout or possibly where the assailants may be at.
That sounds like a blessing to me. I'm confused why people would be against it. James is shaking his head.
I'm shaking my head. Yeah. Well, a couple of reasons. Number one, I always I'm suspicious. So someone that offers me 3 years of free surveillance, my antenna goes up. Number one, because I don't trust people in that way. Number two, this has been used. This technology, from what I have heard, has been used in military situations as well. What I need to know is what's been the success, what's been the what failures, what weaknesses have we seen, and if it's been successful, then trumpet those successes.
Okay.
If it's had some flaws, then tell people what those flaws are.
I understand, and I'm in the same position with you, because if we don't know, then we are to be skeptical. It is healthy.
And I'm a skeptic in that way.
Yeah, originally the product that Ross McNutt had developed was for the IEDs, the improvised explosive devices, devices in Iraq and Afghanistan. And they utilized it to be able to try to stop the bombs from being placed on the side of roads and injuring our soldiers.
Eric?
But what I understood is that there had been some discrepancies in terms of if, for example, went under a tree or you went under some kind of cover, then it distorted exactly.
That's a possibility, but he also utilizes the additional other cameras in the city. So what happens is he marks and plots where all the city watch cameras are, and in one particular investigation, they were able to use the bus that had cameras, both front and back cameras, already on the vehicle for whenever a bus gets into an accident, they have footage of what may have taken place. And they were able to use the footage from off an MTA bus to actually be able to see the person that was driving the getaway vehicle.
Wow.
I'm still going to be a skeptic until you give me all those results, and until you tell me why you're going to give it to me free for 3 years, and then I've got to do something different.
Pay for it.
Year
well,
4.
because there's a benefactor, and my biggest concern is who the benefactor is and where they are. They're from Texas. What does Texas care about what's going on in Baltimore to a millionaire or billionaire husband and wife
now,
are paying for this?
Tom Arnold and Laura Arnold. Now, they've been involved in the reforming of criminal justice in this country. They've also been involved in the bail reform in this country. Yes, and they've also as opposed to changing the bail process.
They don't want to change it?
No, they want to change the process.
Okay,
they
so
want to
that's a
change
good
the
thing.
process
Okay.
how it currently is, because they know it disenfranchises those that don't have the money to be able to afford a
I like
bail.
them. I like them already.
They also do eyeglasses for unfortunate children in urban communities, where they actually do free eyeglasses
checking and stuff.
Well, they provide the examinations, and they also provide the eyeglasses after
that's
the
a
examination.
blessing, man. After working in reading partners and discovering some of my children couldn't see, that is so important. Jason, let me try to get all the calls.
We get scared of philanthropists sometimes,
but as long as they're doing the right thing, we can.
Well, the Koch brothers were philanthropists as well,
right? And that's a bad example.
Unfortunate though, one of them fortunate but unfortunate. One of them just died. God's got a way. Just let him do his thing. Eric, welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. Do you have a question or comment, sir?
Comment. Good morning.
Good afternoon.
And so yes, just because they, was doing things in reference to glasses and stuff like that, the government have been known for years to use people who was doing the right thing for Black Americans and infiltrate them, and it turned out to be the wrong thing. Keep in mind that this program was already enacted in Baltimore City, and Baltimore City police was misusing it. That's a fact. I mean, that is a fact.
Really?
I've done my own research. That program was in Ohio. I forgot what town or what city it was in Ohio, and they couldn't insure to
to the citizens that the surveillance that they was keeping, what was being done with it, you know, how frequent they was surveilling, you know, average citizens, you know, outside of the norms of criminal activity. So we have to be mindful that this thing is not going to prevent the actual crime from happening. I mean, they saying that it's going to get a guy after the fact. So my thing is, what we need to do is focus on preventing it from happening in the first place.
Right, but Eric, the problem is, Eric, that currently we have no accountability for our actions. We have less than a 30% closure rate when it comes to homicides in Baltimore City, and I think that families are deserving to be able to have some closure.
I'm not denying that, but what I'm just saying is, an eye in the sky is not going to prevent somebody who's plotting right now to have a beef and saying, I'm going to blow somebody's brains
No,
out.
we know that, but it will at least tell us where they are and with the chances
hold
of
them
catching,
accountable.
hold them accountable.
May tell us where they are.
All right, so when we did have this, when the police was misusing it, how effective was it when we had it, when it was in the city? What year was it? Show me the statistics from the year.
Was it here before?
2000, yeah, it was 2016. They were actually piloting the program
without telling anyone.
Right, they didn't disclose it to the community. Now, again, it was still public information because a news media outlet, I believe it was USA News or one of those outlets, actually ended up doing a report on it.
Okay, but my thing is, if they was doing this in 2016 and wasn't disclosing to the public, they was doing it secret then. And now because the city won't approve them, now they coming to the same public who they was turning their back on and doing it in secret and asking for us to tell the city council to give them approval to do this. No.
Eric, you do realize that there are technologies that are constantly being tried and tested within the police department. I remember a few years back they were doing face recognition. They were going around. The officers were taking pictures of folks with their iPhones, and what it was, they were sending that information back to a central headquarters where they can instantly run warrants and background checks.
But did they take any of it into court?
I do agree.
But again, you're taking somebody's information
without
necessarily real probable cause.
But the Supreme Court says that the streets are public property and that it's public domain.
Right, but I saw young men that were being stopped, like just, we're inside a store one time, were lined up like they were on a lineup, and the officer went down the line taking pictures of them.
What?
Yeah. Wow. And that's when I asked him about the technology.
Go ahead, Eric.
I'm just of the belief, like what Patrick said, right? So my question is, what do these billionaires, philanthropists, all the way in Texas, what do they? We talking about a spying tool. Why is it so pertinent for them to get this done in Baltimore City? Why you pushing so hard in Baltimore and nowhere else but Baltimore City? Why Baltimore always have to be the guinea pig for the whole country?
Man, because
we may not have to worry about that. We may not have to worry about that soon because it may end up going to Missouri. Because from what I understand, Missouri, St. Louis is soliciting Ross McNutt and asking him to bring that 3-year program to them.
There are more black people killed. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
In her stead. But she has been in my district. If I have an issue, she resolves it. And she gives you her telephone number, and you get a call back, and you get an email back.
Yes,
so
man. She
that's all I want.
Invited me to her house. I don't know where none of the rest of them even live at.
Yeah, I never forget that interview. Hospitality and her husband are wonderful.
It's very gregarious and gracious. We appreciate that, and we regret to hear that she is retiring. Although some say she's been playing both sides of it a little bit, but I guess it's politics.
I'm dealing with my self-interest, and that's what everybody else needs to deal with.
Yes.
If she responds to the issues that are of concern to me, then that's who I'm going to vote for.
Ready to roll. Charles, welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. Do you have a question or comment, sir?
Comment.
Come forth.
Yeah, hope they don't let the eye in the sky in.
Okay.
It's from a company that's based in Texas. If it was so great, they would have it on the border to try to keep people from illegally crossing the border.
Interesting.
It would be working down there. It's just another way to infiltrate the city. That's why they use that catchphrase "free," because they know people like shiny things. So you're getting something free. That's just opening the door to let them in. And another thing, from what it see, all it show is dots on the ground. All dots look alike. So you can't distinguish one dot from another.
But they're targeting the dots on the person that the action came from. No.
But if that dot goes in a building, another dot may come out of the building, and it'll look exactly like the same dot that went in the building.
But they also use, again, City Watch cameras. So they use it in combination of City Watch cameras and other technologies that are already out there, like even cameras from, if it passed by a business and they happen to run by a business, they can go to the security cameras of that business at that time and be able to get that footage and use that footage for a more clear description. And that's what's been done in many of the investigations.
How many crimes have been solved by City Watch cameras? Not many. Not many.
Is there a record of that, Jason? Hold up,
Right.
Charles. Is there a record?
I don't know about the record as far as the city is concerned, but I know that Ross claims that over 30 some odd shootings were actually identified using that procedure. So plotting the plots.
The perpetrators were identified?
Plotting the plots, and yes, he did. He said that clearly, that they were able to identify exactly what was going on based on utilizing a combination of the City Watch cameras. In one case, he also talked about the MTA bus, and that as the assailant went shooting by, they were able to get the MTA bus footage and identify the person based on the MTA footage.
Charles, what do you know to be true, and why are you doubting what he's saying?
But see, with the MTA bus, that's a spot-on camera. They're directly in front of the lens. But when you're talking about dots, all dots look alike from the sky. If you just all it can see is dots, plus it don't work at night. I think it's just another way for them to infiltrate the city using that catchphrase "free." And once they're in,
and he has a night system that's currently in testing as well.
Interesting.
Hey, Patrick, when we're talking about the city cameras, 8 to 10% of those cameras don't work at any given time.
Yeah, especially in the black neighborhood when the police are there and they done done something.
And half the time they're pointed in the wrong direction.
Yes. Wow. That's the reason we believe that closed circuit TV should be in everybody's home.
For the fact that the further study, and it doesn't need to be implemented until all those studies are released to the public, so the public can make an informed decision.
Thank you, Charles, for your input. It was very good.
Meanwhile, we lose another person every day.
All right,
one or two.
Yes, we got Manny on line one. Manny, welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. Do you have a question or comment?
Yeah, comment. Look, they were supposed to have some cameras up there that can do that facial recognition years ago, but that never did materialize, man. And now they're coming back with something else. I don't know what's going on, man. Are you confused as well as I am?
Well, you know what? I would say that I am, but I'm noticing over in Scandinavia and China and other places, they're using that face recognition thing very, very effectively. They think it is, because then they run a check to see who those people are, so they can check terrorists or people like that are just mixing in the crowd. So I think it has an advantage, for that reason, especially in this age that we're living in, where there are more domestic terrorists than there seem to be foreign terrorists. I think it's an interesting thought. What do you think, sir?
Yeah, but I'm saying, who's going to make the protocol to say this is not working? Who's going to have the authority to do that?
That's a good question. You think they should be left up to the people or to the legal thing? What do you think? It is a legal question, or is it?
Eventually, it's going to be, Patrick. Let's be real. Eventually, it's going.
I think it's more of a rhetorical question.
Oh, what? I'm sorry. Say it again. Say it again. What kind? I didn't understand what you said. More of a what?
I said I think it's more of a rhetorical question.
Rhetorical.
It can't be answered right
Can't be answered. Thank you so much, Manny, for
Thank
that's
you, sir.
thoughtful
Take
of
it
you.
easy, man.
You too. Jason is out of the room, and we got a call. Jason, I wonder if I punch it. Wonder what happened. I'm gonna see. Hello, who's calling? Hello.
Hi, Gloyd. How you doing?
Hi, Gloyd. How you doing? See, I didn't know I could do that. Jason stepped out. I got you now. Gloyd, welcome to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. You have a question or comment? Go right ahead.
Yes, Pastor Henderson. It's always a pleasure.
My pleasure.
Me personally, I'm an active person in the community.
Yes, you are for years.
And
yes.
For years, and I pretty much know what goes on in the city. And I hear a lot. I don't care what they got in the sky. Because kids, these guys and the criminals, they know how to get around certain things. Because at one point, I had went with ride along with the police and monitor the cameras in certain areas. And those criminals, they know how to get out of harm's way and everything.
Yeah.
And the reason why, and I'm against this camera, because I went to the meeting. Because to me, all they're going to do is be, like they said, they can track down where they went, where they ran, and then the police can go get them, you know? But to me, that's like, you know, it's going to cause more problems. You know, because all they want to do is keep putting our young boys in jail.
Yeah, but what if they actually did it? And, you know, people don't like to talk in fear of retaliation. You remember that young kid, what was it, last year, Jason, that was and died in the police arms? And he says, just tell me, the police asked him, just tell me who did this. And the kid died and would not tell because of fear of retaliation against his family. So do you think it kind of takes that away?
Exactly.
And we're also hoping with the program as well that this becomes a deterrence, that people know that it's in the sky and then eventually they won't shoot.
Well, I know you can talk pretty good. You can talk, you know.
Go ahead, Lloyd.
The other thing I'm concerned about is when they said at the council meeting, it will cost for 3 years, it would be free. And they mentioned it, and I haven't heard it lately, when they said after 3 years, it's going to cost the city taxpayer $102 million a year.
What?
I don't want my tax dollars going.
We spent $526 million on the public safety just on police officers.
Well, that might be true, but we're talking about in the sky right now. And I noticed when they advertise that's playing in the sky, they said that they're going to get eyeglasses for kids. They know how to promote and get people to sign a petition because they did it the same way with the lottery. They said the lottery is for the school system and all that. You know, and it's always a catch-22, man. You know,
seems to be, but you know, we can't let, and I understand history definitely dictates the present. We understand that, you know, but go ahead.
But my thing is, taking all that money, they need to find out how these guns and drugs is coming to our city.
Amen. I agree to that.
If you listen to Tyrone Bo's show, you know exactly how they came in our community.
Yeah, Tyrone, thank you, Glord. He's been on the battlefield a long time. I met him one day downtown. Didn't know him from Adam, and he walked up and introduced himself. So thank you for your years of activism and your thoughtfulness. For all of you who called in today, a lot of people tell me they don't call in because they're more interested in listening. We invite you to call in, but we thank you for listening, and we hope we've offered some better way of thinking and helping us to think. But remember, y'all need to call your city council person and ask them, what have you done for me lately?
That's exactly
all right.
Right.
That's if y'all just do that, you'll notice a big change. Thank you, James.
I thought that was Janet Jackson said that. What have you done for me lately?
Thank you, Jason. You've been listening to Patrick Henderson's Meet the People. Join us every Sunday at 3:30 on WWIN 1400 and here every Monday. God bless you. We love you. Thank you for listening.
Bye,
Have a great week. Bye-bye.
Your destiny is too important to give up.
WOLB Baltimore and WERQ FM HD3 Baltimore. Brought to you by Live Casino and Hotel.
Foreclosure. If foreclosure is a word you're hearing and worrying about, you need to get a fresh start now. Call Jeff Cerroti to stop foreclosure at 410-999-8000. Stop the harassing phone calls. Sleep easier. Set up a free in-office consultation with Jeff Cerroti himself to get your fresh start. Cerroti & Associates are the bankruptcy specialists. They've been helping Marylanders stop foreclosures and get out from under their mounting bills for over 25 years. Foreclosure stopped, or set up a free in-office consultation. You'll sit down with Jeff Cerroti to discuss your situation. No obligation, but if you do proceed, mention WOLB for a special discount. Call today, 410-999-8000 or freshstartlaw.com to get your financial fresh start and stop foreclosure with the bankruptcy specialist, Cerroti & Associates. They're convenient to the Beltway with free parking. Stop foreclosure. Stop garnishment. Call Cerroti.